But I want to tell you how this has been working on me this week. I'll just give you this week for the example. I knew Sunday I talked with Brother Mark after our man's breakfast, and I knew he wasn't feeling good, and he's had a hard week that week, and this week I knew wasn't going to be no easier on him, so I had a good idea this was coming. But I'll tell you how the devil plays into these games. Monday, I was so busy Monday, I think I finally got home about 8:30 Monday night from working. That's how he kept me out, kept me so busy. Yesterday, I finally got home last night at 6:30, and by the time I got home, I was just wore out. And this morning, I get up, I take off at 6 o'clock, and then this afternoon when I was in Lufkin at 3:30, Brother Mark calls me. So I really hadn't a chance, but I'd been working a little bit prior to this, and me and Charlie and I talked to her about it, but that's how when you start trying to do things for God, that devil, he's going to step in, and you got to be prepared for it. So, I mean, that's just how he's messing with me all week. But let me tell you, I'll tell you a quick story. Today, I'm working on a house over on Lake Palestine, and this lady wanted 2 different shower stalls put in her house. Well, they had one in Lufkin, so I went down there yesterday and got it. Well, the other one was in Tyler, so I went there this morning to get it. Well, while I'm there this morning, we get the first one out, it's got a hole in it. They go get the second one out, it's got a crack in it. They go get the last one they got, the side panels broke on it. So I call the lady, I tell her, look, we can't find nothing here. They have none of these like she wants nowhere in East Texas, and it's going to be 3 weeks till we get one. The plumbers are coming in on Monday to start this stuff. So she decides she's going to get something different, and it's in Lufkin. That's how I ended up back in Lufkin today. So I take off back to Lufkin after lunch, and I get down there, like I say, it's probably around 3 o'clock or 3:30 when I get there. But this is how God puts people in our way. I usually wear a clean shirt to church, but I kept my shirt on. It's a shirt I worked in today, and there's a reason for that. When I get out of my truck and I'm going into Home Depot, there's a little Vietnamese lady, and she's got a cart, and she's got about 8 of those concrete blocks. They're about that big. But she's got them in her buggy, and she's going out to her truck, and she just gets to her truck just about the time I walk up. And I asked her, I said, because I see she's in her late 60s, early 70s. And I asked her, I said, you want me to help you put those blocks in your truck? She said, sure. So I start putting them in there, and I feel her touch me. And I look at her, and she's touching me right here, and she says, so you're a Christian? And I said, yes, ma'am. And I had on this hat. I'll show you, this is my hat. I wear it every day almost. And she points at my hat. She says, so you go to Trail to Christ Cowboy Church? I said, yes, ma'am. And she goes on to tell me she's from Houston. They just bought 25 acres of land around the Lufkin area, and they're getting prepared to come up here and live up here. And she asked me about, she said she's been to one in Trinity, a cowboy church, and want to know how they was affiliated, and we're sitting there talking about all that. But the reason that I think God put her in my way today, she's been looking for a contractor, and I don't know if all of y'all know, that's what I build houses, that's what I do. And she said that they bought this 25 acres, and they're fixing to build 12 houses here in Lufkin. And she wanted to know if I'd be interested. And I told her, yeah, I'd probably be interested in that. Was the first 12 of them. And she says, well, I need your phone number. And I give her my phone number, and she called me immediately to make sure, I guess she was making sure I give her the right number. And then we talked for a few minutes, and then I went on inside the store, and while I'm in the store, she starts texting me. She wants pictures of some recent houses that I've done, and I've just some background on me and stuff, so I'll get it to her. But I don't know if God messed up those 3 deals in Tyler, so I had to go to Lufkin to meet her. I don't know. But then while I'm in the store, I get with a guy, one of their pro guys, and we're back there trying to find the shower that this lady wants. And while we're back there, he asked me, we get into it again, and again, we talk about my shirt. So, I mean, just good advertisement for God. So we get to talking about it, and then he asked me, he says, well, what do you do? And I told him what I do. And he goes, well, we got a guy that installs our new, like, doors or windows and this, but he said that he's not a very dependable guy, and we want somebody new. And he asked me would I be interested in doing that. So now God done helped me out twice today. I don't guess he thinks I'm busy enough right now, so he's going to give me some more. But I thought that was a pretty good deal today on that deal. So I did get to shower in the rain, and yeah, I got all that coming back. But yes, I did get it for her. So, yeah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, I want to add, I was watching a deal the other day about what the devil likes the most and how he works on us. What do you think is the devil's favorite word? Does anybody, just give me what do you think the devil's favorite word would be? Huh? You can't? You can? That'd be a good one. So the one that I didn't come up with it, I just seen it, but tomorrow. So just think about that. Tomorrow. The devil loves it when you do things tomorrow. Because if you're like me, tomorrow's usually, if I make my list out Monday, tomorrow might happen Thursday or Friday. If not, it happens the next week. We're always putting stuff off. And I was going to do something different with this, but I just didn't have time because it's got me quicker than I thought it would. And like I said, I've been pretty busy. But just think of those people that, like, what was his name? Roy Binge. If he was going to do something tomorrow, his time's up. He's not getting tomorrow. So don't procrastinate or something to do tomorrow what you know that we can do today, because the Lord's always looking for you for something today. And last time I was up here, I told y'all we started doing this Bible study. It's called the Bible Recap. I'm on day 127 now. And I don't know how y'all do, but like I told you, I've never read the Bible, and now I'm getting into it, and I'm reading it a lot. And I try to do it every day, but life gets in the way. I don't get it every day, but I try to get it as much as I can. But since I've started reading on the Bible, I mean, there's things in there in Leviticus, Numbers, what else was there? Exodus. I don't know if y'all ever read those. And then when it gets into Deuteronomy, I mean, it gets some pretty bad stuff in there. And as I was reading this, I'm thinking some of these things I have never heard a preacher preach on. And they're not good things. I mean, if you read these back then in the Old Testament, it was pretty tough, especially when Moses brought all the Israelites out and they started out. All the stuff that went on, all the things that God did to show these Israelites who he was, that he was God and he could do all these things. And, they still, every time they ended up somewhere and they say they didn't have enough water or they didn't have enough food, they'd automatically start rebelling against God because they're saying, well, we had it better where we was at in Egypt than we do now. We just all need to go back. They was always what I would call disrespecting God a lot as they went. So as I went on through this, the Israelites are God's chosen people. We all know that. Well, he promised them the promised land. But when they got there, you know how they acted up. They did all this, so he made them wander around for those 40 years. Because what he wanted all the people that was so disrespectful to him to pretty much pass away before he let them go across that river. So it was a pretty big deal. And since I've been reading the Bible, I've came across some things that I'd say that were very shocking to me. I don't know how to say it, but very shocking. Some of the things that I read. And a particular point, when I was reading this, I really struggled with this right here. When God commanded that they go in here and just pretty much wipe out a group of people. And I was thinking, and I was thinking, how could God, because he's so forgiving, he's got so much grace, how could he tell these Israelites to just go in here and kill everybody? I mean, he went in there and took out a lot of people. And, one thing I've learned about God, God hates sin. He hates it a lot. And he, just like whenever he commanded Noah, to build the ark, we all know what, it was just Noah and his family was the only ones that was saved. God flooded the world and he killed all those people. God did that. God took them all out. Noah built the boat. He did what God told him to. He took the animals and took him. But God took out all the people at that point. And then the reason why, if you read in there, because the people had went so far away from God, they had their own gods or they had their own things they was doing and just totally went away from God. So when I read of God commanding the Israelites to kill men, women, children, and even nursing babies, at this point, I actually, when I read that, I mean, I don't know what you say. It really bothered me because God is supposed to be loving and caring. And just think if you was one of those soldiers and God commanded you to go into this group of people, and I mean, these wasn't just a few people, these were thousands of people in these groups. And he told you that nothing lives, everything dies. Go in there and get them. This is your promised land. I don't want you to have nothing to do with these people. We want them out. We want to take them all out. So he sent them in there. So I want to read Deuteronomy 20, 16 through 18. But of the cities of these people which the Lord your God gave you as an inheritance, you shall let nothing that breathes remain alive. But you shall utterly destroy them. The Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, I'm not good with these names, and the Jebusites, just as the Lord your God has commanded you. Lest they teach you to do according to all their abominations which they have done for their gods, and you sin against the Lord your God. So what that says is, so he's sending them in there because he don't want the Israelites to pick up none of their habits. He don't want them to worship none of their gods. And the only way that God can see this happening is to take them all out. And when I was reading this and going through this, you got to realize, these people that they're going in there and killing, they're God's children too. I mean, these are different groups or different tribes or people that have just went different ways and no longer are a part of God. They don't want nothing to do with God, and so God is letting the Israelites go in there and get them. And then in 1 Samuel 15:3, now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and do not spare them, but kill both man and women, infant and nursing child, ox, sheep, camels, and donkeys. So they went in there and took out everything. I mean, you can see they took out the animals. He didn't want nobody left alive so these children of Israel would not inherit or start disrespecting him or doing what they were doing. So one of the questions that the study I was going into, it says, how can we make sense of this? Were the people so evil that even nursing babies had to be killed? So how can we reconcile this with the Bible teaching of God's grace and love? So anybody want to comment on that one?
He does care about us. He does have a lot of grace and love. Mm-hmm. If we
and that he would stop a lot of the sin by killing off that group of people. But I'm going to go into, I went in and researched this a little bit more because, there's Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, then Deuteronomy. So all this was pretty much happening where they was taking the promised land in Deuteronomy. But before God commanded them to go in there and kill this entire group of people, God gave the Hittites, the Jebusites, all those people, he gave them many chances to leave the land. He went in before them, and when I was reading back in here, back in Exodus and Leviticus and all that, I remember reading some of this, but when I went back and studied it a little bit more, I seen where he just didn't send them in here to kill these people. He gave those people a way out before he sent them in there to kill them. And in Exodus 23:29, it'll show, I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land becomes desolate and the beasts of the field become too numerous for you. Go ahead and do Leviticus 18:24. Do not defile yourselves with any of these things, for by all these the nations are defiled, which I am casting out before you. So he was casting all this out before they got there, and he was trying to make them leave, trying to make these people move about. Go ahead and do Numbers 33:52. Then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the lands from before you. Destroy all their engraved stones, destroy all their molded images, and demolish all their high places. So here's wanting them to go in where they had all their idols, where they had like the calves, they had all kinds of deals in there, and God wanted them, once they went in there, he did go in there and tell them to destroy all this. But if you knew, Jesus' cousin, he was a Hittite. I don't know if y'all have read that yet, or know that. But he was one of the ones that was in one of the towns where the Israelites was going in to kill everybody. And it was 2 or 3 little groups of these people, they left. And Jesus' cousin was one of those that left there, and he didn't get into the battle with them on that part. So on this part right here, like I said, when I got to Deuteronomy and it started talking about how he was taking all these and how he was killing them, and on some of the battles, he would just send them into a town. It was either God was talking to them, or it said that God sent an angel down to talk to them. And I did a little research on the angel, and they think the angel might have been Jesus because of the way that he commanded them and told them to do and how to kill people. Because some of the places they would go to, they would only tell them to kill the men and the women and the children, but any woman that was of a virgin, don't kill her. They let her live out of some of those towns. And then some of them they'd go into, he'd tell them don't kill none of the animals, but kill everything but the animals. And Saul, Saul pretty much took it upon himself at one time that he was just going to go in here and he was going to kill all the men and he let all the women live. He didn't do it. Well, when Saul did that, that's when God started backing away from Saul and quit giving him all his blessings. And he even let the Philistines go in there and kill a bunch of Saul's people. And he lost 2 or 3 battles because he got defiant and he wasn't doing what God was telling him to do. And he was pretty much taking what he wanted and then killing everything else. And it was just building him up instead of doing what God had sent him there to do. So my wife sent me another Bible study today, and it was talking about how to study and how to remember stuff and how to listen and hear God when he's speaking to you. And on that, I got to thinking about whenever I was reading this, and then when I got to the part where he was killing all the children and stuff, well, if I would have remembered and would have studied a little harder, I probably would have remembered where God had given the Hittites and all them a chance to leave before they came in to kill them. But I don't know. Whenever I read, I try to get somewhere really quiet. I got one little room in our house where we go, and the thing that when I was listening to this Bible study today for this lady that was talking about it, what she said is what she was doing prior to this. And I think I was doing the same. I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm looking for more quantity than I am quality. I'm trying to get through the books without actually trying to study the book, if that makes sense. And I'm reading through them, and like I say, I'm up to like 1 Samuel or 2 Samuel now. I think I'm in 2 Samuel. And after I read this, and I got to thinking about what she was saying, because before I read the Bible or anything, I'll sit there and pray. And I'll ask God to help me and the Holy Spirit to be with me and show me something and teach me what I need to know. And I try to absorb as much as I can. But as I can see, I have missed some things as I've been reading through it. And she's saying that some of the friends that she has or something, she said that they say God don't talk to them. Well, I don't think that God ain't talking to them. I just don't think they're listening. Is my opinion. So, because just like the story I told about the people on the four-way up there at Rusk on the square. When I passed by those people, it was just like me and Bill sitting here talking when Bill said something to me. It was that clear when I drove through that deal, and he said, "Are you kidding me? You're just going to keep driving?" It was that clear to me, and I know it was him telling me I need to go back and do what I need to do. So we really need to listen because God's there and He's talking to us. So. And another good point this lady had on this was that she said after listening to your Bible and studying it, and it tells us that it's just not a book. The Bible is not a book. If you read it, it's God telling you, and it's just like Jesus. Jesus is alive. So is this Bible. And if you read it in a certain way, because I read, and when I'm reading these stories, I can picture what's going on in that story now. I don't know if that sounds weird. I might be weird. I don't know. But I can see it. When they're saying they're going into these towns, or they're going up the mountains, or they're going into the woods. I see people going into the woods. I see them. I see it. And I can remember it better that way. And she's got a pretty good point there because of the Bible being alive, because it's showing you exactly what's going on with these people. So in order for us to hear God, to hear His Word in the Bible, we got to have our Bible in front of us. And I'm going to confess, I'm the world's worst when Brother Mark's up here and he says, hold them up. 9 out of 10 weeks, I don't have mine. I watch that screen just like everybody else does. But we need our Bible in front of us. I'm preaching to myself just as much as I'm telling y'all. We need to bring our Bibles and follow along with Brother Mark in those. Man, I can't read. I'll write this down so fast today. So as we're reading and we're studying His Word and these stories that we're going through, but we need to remember that God is the one that's trying to put whatever in front of you. Because if you do, I used to just read parts of the Bible and stuff, and I don't know if God was telling me this is what you need to read today or this is what you need to do today. And I think the reason why that I used to do it that way, and it was because I wasn't fully committed to the time that I was giving to God. I was just trying to rush through it. Just maybe, I don't know. I ain't just say I did it, but I was trying to learn stuff too. But I was rushing through things, and now that I've slowed down and I'm reading a little more and I'm getting a little more into it, and I understand it a lot better now. But it's just taking that time out for God, and that's one thing that you'll find as we get closer to God, and as you start reading and you do things like this, you know who's coming in right there to help hurt you, right? If you're getting closer to God, that devil, he's coming right there. He's going to try and disrupt everything you're doing. If you're getting closer, he don't want you getting closer. Because I'll tell you, me and him, we fight. I'm just be honest with you. Me and that devil, we don't. I know when he's putting stuff in front of me, just like he's done all week, and it makes me angry because I know he's done that to me, but I ain't gonna let him beat me because I'm standing here. So I won't let him take me out. So, and it was just like I said, just like Brother Mark said, every Sunday, hold them up. And like I said, I'm one of the ones that usually don't. But I do, if you see me holding one up, usually it's Charlene, so I'll confess. So, and usually she goes back there, so I just take her Bible. Once we come in and we're sitting there and we're listening to Brother Mark, and Brother Mark, he gives us our message, and you know, I love Brother Mark to death. But me and Charlene was talking about this earlier, that, you know, Brother Mark used to have a job. He come here on Wednesdays, he preached on Sunday. And if you know the work that he has to put in to get that message ready, working all week, doing all that, I mean, it's not easy. I mean, God is really with Brother Mark, and I hate what he's going through. I mean, it's like, I don't want to get sentimental. I don't want to start crying. It's kind of like my big brother, you know. But if you're like me, when one of my kids gets sick or my wife gets sick or they get hurt or something, I want to take control. I want to help. I want to be there. I want to do something. And you know, all we can do for Brother Mark right now is just pray and ask God to help him. So, because I know he's hurting and he's not feeling very well. So, but you know, and if you listen to Brother Mark, what he says on Sundays and bringing you the message, but we need to continue, because just because we come here on Sundays, and you know, and I ain't picking on nobody, but I see some people, they don't come on Wednesdays. You see our crowd tonight; they just come on Sundays. And if you really want to get close to God, you got to have Him in your life every day, and you need to be reading your Bible. You need to be praying. I mean, and I'm honestly, you know, back when I was doing things I shouldn't be doing versus now, I mean, now I pray, I do my stuff, and I feel so much better. I feel relieved. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel so much better knowing I have God in my life to do the things I do. So, but it's just like in Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers, you know, it's just like for us, God gives us the same chance. He gives us so many chances to do right. But if you start pushing away God, you know, He'll let you go. He'll let you step out on your own and let you falter. And it's like Brother Mark said, when people come in here, they get Jesus and they get good and they think they're all good, you won't see them for 2 or 3 months or whatever till something bad happens in their life, and then they come back and now help me again. I want Jesus back to help me some more. So and it's called, I got mercy wrote down here. Me and Charlene was talking about this earlier, and you know, and God is very merciful. I mean, if you know all the things that He helps me so much, and I mean, I can't complain about it. I'm so blessed. I mean, I watch other people, and just like what Brother Mark's going through right now, I mean, I even hate to tell Brother anything that's going on with me because I know what's going on with him. You know, it's hard for us to bring stuff to him. But Sunday after the men's breakfast and stuff, we're sitting back there talking, you know, and Brother Mark still wants us to bring him. Don't leave him out. I know he needs our prayers, but he still wants to be a part of everything that we got going on. So still bring, if you got prayers to him or you need help or anything like that, keep bringing them to him, because it just makes him feel good, because I told him he's just so prideful. I mean, and God don't like prideful, but it's just like every man in this room right here. We're gonna go as long as we can without asking for help. So just remember, just lift Brother Mark up and do the best we can, and we'll just do all that we can for him. So that's pretty much all I had today on this. Anybody got any discussions or anything they want to talk about or anything?